My name is Amy Loewan. I'm a visual artist from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And I'm extremely excited and honored to be invited to be part of this global event, global online event, Source of Wonder, Igniting the Divine Spark. Very excited about this. Actually, when I look at my art, which I will talk about it later, it's very much to do with that. So that's why I'm so excited that I can be part of this to share about my artistic projects. I'm Chinese and I was born in Hong Kong and immigrated to Canada, and I have lived in Canada for 40 years. My first profession was an occupational therapist. And then in midlife, I went back to study art. And I obtained a Master of Fine Arts degree from the University of Alberta when I was age 50. I have, since then, I have been very involved as a professional artist. I have exhibition history of over 100 exhibitions. I have exhibited mostly across Canada, but also abroad in the United States, like in New York, in China, in Shanghai and Hong Kong, as well as in my early career in Melbourne, Australia. For the last 20 years, my work has been focused on promoting peace and human understanding. I'm married to Loewan, and together we work on many creative art projects. And I am very happy today I can share a couple of them with you. So I'm going to talk about two of my art projects, the Peace House and the Peace Lantern. So let me start with the Peace Lantern. And with this, I want to start with a story. As a young adult, I went and studied in the United States. That was in the 60s. At that time, there was no text, no Zoom, no email. So, communication was very different. And my mother would send me many letters. And in 1997, my mom was very ill. So I went back to Hong Kong from Canada, and I spent the last month with her. And I was very blessed and to be able to be there where she was passing to the beyond. So she passed away. I went back to Canada in grief and in sadness. I started to read many of her letters. In one of the letters, she said, "You children are like lantern to me. You children are like lantern to me." I was so deeply moved and touched for the respect and the love she has for her children, that she consider us as lantern to illuminate and lighting the path for her. So when I decided to do another art project to promote peace and hope, I said, wow, what would be a better image? It's a lantern. It's a gigantic, huge, illuminated lantern in a gallery space where audience can walk around and experience the lantern's illumination and beauty. So let me tell you a little bit about this lantern. It's very big. It's about, as an installation, will be about 10 feet tall and about 10 feet wide. This huge illuminated lantern. Underneath the lantern, I have a field of golden Canadian wheat from Canada. And the lantern is constructed with rice paper weavings. So what I did was I cut up long, big strips of rice paper into very thin strips of paper, and then I weave them. They become big tapestries. And then onto those big tapestries, I weave into them world languages, because I'm thinking about world, I'm thinking about diversity, I'm bringing about inclusiveness. And the weaving itself already talks about the idea of interconnectedness. interconnectedness of all things, all beings. And the weaving itself talks about that. And the world language talks about the world and diversity. So there are 8 words: compassion, kindness, respect, understanding, patience, tolerance, gentleness, and forgiveness. Those 8 words were reverberated in over 35 world languages. So this basically is this lantern. I feel that I've chosen these 8 words. There are many, many more words, of course, but these kind of represent values that will help to shape a better world. So the lantern, this illuminated lantern, what does it mean to me? And what does it mean to others when they come around and build this exhibition? It is about, really, about celebrating the light inside each one of us. As a visual image, he's a light. It celebrates, it helps to echo people's inner light when they view this artwork. And as we shine our light, other people will shine too. And together, we can illuminate the path for a better world. So my other project is the Peace House. So basically, I created this Peace House inside the gallery setting. And why do I create the house, which I will talk a little bit more about. But basically, the image of house is a metaphor for the home. And that's kind of conceptualized the whole idea. So inside the gallery setting, this house is big enough for people to walk inside. Give you an idea of the size, it's about 15 feet length, 10 feet width, and 11 feet tall. As I said, it's big, so people can actually walk around the house and walk inside the house. So this is actually a very simple, iconic house with the 4 walls, a roof, windows, and a door entrance. Again, the walls are constructed with shame paper weavings. Shame paper in the Western people used to know as rice paper, but the Chinese people is actually shame paper. Those are rice paper weavings, same as the lantern. And then on this, the walls are shame paper weavings, wall hangings. And again, I weave them with rice paper. And on top of the hanging, there are large images of the peace icon, the peace star, which is universal icon for peace. And then interwoven into the weaves, as one get closer to look at the house and look at the walls, interwoven into, you will see many, many handwritten peace messages. Those messages were written by many, many different people. They came about was that when I was doing my previous peace installations, I often asked people, what does peace mean to you? And then I asked people to write down on a strip of paper the meaning of peace. And I collected thousands and thousands of those peace messages in my many, many exhibitions. So now I found a way to integrate those peace messages into my own art project. So those are the walls. And the entrance panels and the gable, which becomes the window, the gable becomes the window of the house. And they are adorned with intricate paper cut patterns. Those patterns are paper cut. And the design of those patterns is actually constructed with overlapping images of the iconic peace sign. If you look closer to it, you will see all the peace sign actually overlapping to create a pattern. And with good proper exhibition lighting, the light will shine shadows, create shadows through those intricate design and casting interesting, inviting patterns and shadows onto the inner walls as well as the floor of the house. So once people go inside the lantern, they will be illuminated by 4 unshaded Edison lights. Those are the very first lights, Edison lights. They're hung from the ceiling of the house. If they walk around the house, they will see the saying of a very ancient Chinese sage, Lao Tzu, of the 6th century BC. And he talks about world peace. And this saying of Lao Tzu was written by me by hand with a Chinese brush. Basically, the saying is about that if there is to be peace in the world, ultimately, there must be peace in the home and peace in our heart. And that's why I constructed the house as a metaphor for the home. But in the Chinese text, it's actually the other way around, that we have to start with ourselves. About self-cultivation is the beginning. And from self-cultivation, we bring peace to family, to society, and ultimately the world. So I constructed the house, beautiful house that people can walk around and be inspired. So what it is about, you know? So I want to construct a place for contemplation and reflection, a place where people can come and be still. And many faith traditions has talked about the importance of being still. So in stillness, we access our inner sacredness. In our inner sacredness is our inner spark. And that's where we gain our insight, inspirations, our creativity, and solution to problems. Not only our own, but also benefit for all people. The inner sacredness, our divine spark. And next to the house, in the same exhibition space, I have what I call the public participation panel. An audience are invited to post their intentions. I ask, what will you do to make this world a better place? And at the end, there's a public art created with multicolored post notes all over the gallery wall. At this time, during this time of the world situation, there are so many changes, so many challenges. We are called to action to make this world a better place. As we recognize our divine light inside us and ignite it, we personally become creators. We create a new story for ourselves, and together, collectively, we will create a new story, and we can create a new story for the world. In the beginning that I'm married to this man, Ryan Loewan. And we have, together we work on many creative projects. For example, in this project about the house and about the lantern, he was very involved in this, constructed a house frame with Canadian maple. And the lantern, he constructed the stand in the middle, like umbrella, where all the wear hangings are hung. And he takes photos, documentations, and website building, and all those kind of promotional tasks for me as well.
Just say, since the very beginning, when we were married, Amy started to get very involved in art, and that got me into picture framing because I'm a hands-on man. I love working with woodwork. I have my own woodwork shop, and it's very natural for me to become involved. So it's been a real exciting and also very creative experience to work alongside with Amy's projects, to help her whenever construction or framing needed to be done, or even boxing them for transportation. So that's been part of my job. It's sort of a creative, just like doing the peace house that Amy mentioned. You know, a very creative process in designing it, designing the structure. And it's really been a lot of fun and very rewarding for me to be involved in that way. Yes. Yeah,
one aspect is shipping my art for exhibition. So he builds the crates and constructed all those elements of it. So that is also a very big part of it. What I'm working on now is actually I'm working on, you know, my peace project. I have a lot of, when I'm preparing my peace project, I do quite a few rice paper weavings. Not all of the weavings goes to the final project. So I'm actually reworking some of those big rice paper weavings. And the last one I just finished a few months ago. And it's also a very large piece, about 4 feet wide by 8 feet tall. And same idea with P-style world languages and the 8 words that I use. And that piece I donated to a hospital, the Royal Alexandra Hospital here in Edmonton. And I'm intending to work on more pieces and hoping that more of these pieces, because the house is not a permanent collection. However, my rice weaving is smaller, I'm hoping to work on more pieces that I can bring them out to be exhibited in public places permanently. So that's my current project right now. Well, I'm also an art educator. So my other task is to mentor other people to become better artists. And one project actually I'm working on right now is I'm organizing and curating an exhibition for a group of emerging artists. And they were my students. And after studying for me, they want to keep on pursuing the art. I'm not teaching them anymore, but they get together, meet once a month to encourage each other. And I have been very impressed by the dedication to learning. So I decided to curate an exhibition for 12 of these emerging artists. And so this is my project, and I will be mentoring them, doing studio visits, and then putting the whole show together for them. And so that's the other project I'm working on right now. So, as an educator, mentoring other artists and developing my own arts, and yeah, that's what I'm doing right now in this COVID-19 times, to do something meaningful, and that's I think that's good.